Today I was having a conversation with a friend who just ended a relationship with another closed-hearted man. And I started thinking about what it means to live in an open-hearted space. I'm also reading the book The Gifts of Imperfection this week, and I'm in a group, participating in a group where we're talking about wholehearted living and what it means to be vulnerable. And that vulnerability is part of the access to connection, to deep connection. And I recall being at a seminar recently, I think back in October, where I saw 3 men who were truly in their hearts. And I thought that was amazing. It was beautiful to see men dropped into their hearts. And I don't know that I believed that that was a true thing. I had hoped that that could be a true thing. And my curiosity about my ability to see these men in this particular way, whether it was about my own heart opening, because I felt so much for this friend who has this strong desire to have that kind of open heart connection with someone. And I reflected on the way in which my heart has been closed, that actually being in an open, vulnerable heart space with a person was the exception and not the rule for me, that my ability to drop in and be willing to be deeply loving and vulnerable with somebody wasn't something I had a lot of access to or practice. For several reasons. Perhaps you've heard me talk about this. I grew up in boy world. When I was little, however I was wandering around in the world, reaching for things, expressing myself, I kept getting the story and getting my hand slapped. You shouldn't do that because you're a girl. Girls can't do that. Only boys can do that. And I picked up on the story that it seemed that all of the ways that I wanted to express myself and all the things I wanted to reach for were boy things. So this whole girl-woman path, that's stupid. I don't want to do it. And I grew up until about 11 in boy world. And boy world has a lot of rules. And one of the things that I said to this friend, as I said, in boy world, you're not allowed to express certain emotions. And there's a threshold at which you're allowed to express certain emotions. But you get used to and practiced at cutting yourself off from specific emotions. I think I've shared in a podcast episode with Janet Allison, For the Boys is the name of that episode. We talked about how in my list you're allowed to experience anger, pride, and lust. But anything else is off limits. And so the nervous system learns to shut it down. One of the reasons why the nervous system learns to shut it down is for the fear of having your ass kicked. Because that is the cost. The cost of expressing emotions that may be seeming feminine or even gay is that you can get your ass kicked. You will get beat up. And when you get older, that also includes you can be killed. When we're talking about the cost of having an open heart and vulnerability and expressing emotions that are off the list of what's allowed, the risk is violence. And that's real. That's programmed into the body. You get punched, you get kicked. This stuff happens in boy world. I'm talking we're little. 6, 7, 8, 9, This is learned, the response. On top of that, fun experience, I also had childhood trauma, which created in my nervous system this threshold of any heightened experience or emotion means terror and trauma. It triggers something in me. So I have this double-edged fun. My nervous system is so brilliant. It knew how to keep me safe. It knows how to shut down things that get out of hand, that are outside of the bounds of what's allowed for me to be safe. And now, around 11, You got the whole menstrual cycle and boobs show up, and I get kicked out of boy world. And so at this point in my life, rationally, I realize that if I express emotions or feel emotions, I'm one of those humans that are allowed to have emotions, and so I'm probably not going to be killed or punished for them. But inside this body, my learned nervous system response still thinks that that's the cost of vulnerability. And it was only recently that first of all, I had a couple relationships that were able to be nurturing in such a way where I did not fear expressing my vulnerabilities. That was huge, that I got to be safe with another person. And then I had to learn and prioritizing becoming a safe space for myself. And that's what I've been up to in my own work for the last 3 or 4 years, maybe a little longer, recognizing that emotions and vulnerability are powerful and are the path to connection. And I'm bringing this up because it occurred to me in this conversation with my friend that more of us could be talking about what it means to be open with our hearts and what that looks like. And the first path for me, and probably the reason why I could witness and could see these men and their open hearts and know that that exists, was because I became a safe space for myself, and I am in resonance with what open-heartedness looks and feels like. That I broke down some of that callus, that I broke down some of the scar tissue and protective tissue around my heart and around my expressiveness. And that allowed me to get the reinforcement of connection and witnessing love and open hearts everywhere. They're everywhere. And I don't have what was the first step of opening your own heart and becoming a safe space? I think today I will tell you that the first step is to become a witness for yourself. The part of your mind, the part of your internal experience that's really good at judging, about listing things and noticing things, I deputized a part of me to pay attention to all of the shoulds and judgments that I had, to just be a noticer and a witness for my internal experience, rather than deciding, oh, my negative thoughts, they're bad, I should stop having them. I just started to notice where fears lived. I just started to notice the shape of the thoughts I was having. I just started to notice the sensations in my body. And I took note. I wrote some of them down. I just became a witness, because you can't really change something that you have your blinders on to. You can't change something that you're not willing to feel or experience. So I suppose that's the first step. If you want to become more open-hearted, and if you want to bring more people into your experience who are also open-hearted, start the process of becoming a safe space for you, for all of you. Those are my thoughts today. I hope that it's useful, and I wish you all the best with however your life is going right now. Love you. Have a great day.